Alright, in this video we're going to talk about matrix multiplication, which is kind of weird. So the first thing you need to know is how matrices work. So you have a bunch of rows, and rows are horizontal, and then you have a bunch of columns. Or you could only have one, it doesn't really matter, but columns are vertical. So that's really important because we need to know how to kind of classify a matrix, and you go row by column. So here we have a matrix. And this particular matrix has 2 rows, and it has 3 columns. And so we would say that this is a 2 by 3 matrix. And it's really important you understand that, because if you don't understand that, you'll never be able to figure out if you can multiply matrices or not. So the reason I say that is that, so the product A times B for matrices exists only if the columns of A is equal to the rows of B. So remember, you go row by column. So the second number for A has to equal the first number for B when you kind of write down the classification. So let's look at that kind of. So let's say A is a 3 by 5 matrix, so 3 rows, 5 columns. And B is a 5 by 4, so 5 rows and 4 columns. So these numbers are the same, so 5 equals 5. So we can multiply them, and then the result is actually going to be a 3 by 4 matrix. So that's kind of the comparison that you have to do. So if we look at another one. If M is 1 by 6, so 1 row, 6 columns, and N is 3 by 1, so 3 rows and 1 column, you actually cannot multiply these matrices M times N. But if we kind of flip it around and try to do N times M, so N is 3 by 1 and M is 1 by 6, so the middle numbers are the same, which means we can multiply them, and the result will be a 3 by 6 matrix. So N times M exists, but M times N does not exist, which is probably new for you. That probably hasn't happened really before. So it's nice to know, but I mean, honestly, if you just try to do it, you'll run into a problem. But matrix multiplication is not commutative, so M times N does not equal N times M in this case. So let's do one. So say we have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to multiply by 3, 2, negative 1, 4, 5, 1. So our first matrix is 2 by 3, and the second is 3 by 2. So 2 rows, 3 columns for the left matrix, 3 rows and 2 columns for the right matrix. So 3 equals 3, so we can multiply them. The result is going to be a 2 by 2 matrix. So let's see if we can figure this out. So matrix multiplication is done what I call it row by column. So to get the element that's in row 1, column 1, of the product matrix, or a 2 by 2 matrix, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take row 1 of the left matrix and column 1 of the right matrix, and you multiply corresponding elements. So first times first, then you add, plus second times second, plus third times third. So let me walk through that. So first times first, so 1 times 3, plus second times second, so 2 times negative 1, plus third times third, so 3 times 5. So that's what we do, and then you just kind of work that out. I get 16, and that goes in row 1, column 1 of the product matrix. So the next thing we're going to do is row 1, column 2. So the thing in row 1, column 2 you take row 1 of the left matrix, and you take column 2 of the right matrix, and you do your product and adding again. So it's going to be first times first, second times second, and third times third. And then you work that out. I get 13, so you put that in row 1, column 2. And then you just keep going. So if I want row 2, column 1, that's going to be row 2 of the left matrix and column 1 of the right matrix. And then first times first, plus second times second, plus third times third, equals, work it out, I get 37. Put that in your matrix in row 2, column 1. And then row 2, column 2 is going to be row 2 of the left, column 2 of the right. So I'm kind of highlighting as I go. And then you just work that out. So we have second times second, and then third times third. I get 34. Put that in there. And that's the result. So it's really not that bad. Let's take a look at another one. So I'm going to show you, it's kind of a trick. I guess it's a trick. So say we have this 3 by 3 and this 3 by 2, so 3 rows, 2 columns. So I can definitely multiply them because the middle numbers are the same. I'm going to get a 3 by 2 matrix. Let me show you a kind of neat way to set this up. So what I'm going to do is take the left matrix, and then the right matrix, I'm just going to like shift up. And what happens is the kind of like space that's left there to the bottom right has exactly the dimensions that we need. So I'm going to kind of make a matrix. So if you look, I mean, the way that it's lined up, that new matrix has to have 3 rows, and it has to have 2 columns because of just the spacing. And what happens is things kind of just like drop in. It's kind of like if you ever played Connect 4, kind of feels like that. So I got row 1 and then column 1, and then that's going to go in row 1, column 1. So that's going to go right there. So what I did was I'm multiplying first times first, second times second, third times third, adding. That gives you 20. And then you keep going. So row 1, column 2 will go into row 1, column 2 right there. That should give you -3. Row 2 and column 1, and that'll go right there. And then row 2, column 2, that'll go right there. Row 3, column 1 goes right there. And then row 3, column 2 goes right there. So it's kind of a really nice way of kind of organizing your work, I guess. So that's the answer to that product right there, which is kind of nice. I'll do one more. So, I mean, if you know what you're doing, you're done. Otherwise, here's another problem. So this is going to be a 3 by 3 and then a 3 by 4. So I can multiply them. So I'm going to do it the same way, just kind of space it out. And you see, once you set it up this way, I mean, you can still get it wrong, but you won't get the dimensions wrong, which is, you know, it's half the battle. So we have our new matrix, and I'll do the first one, then I'll just fill everything in. So row 1, column 1 goes right there. Row 1, column 2 is going to go right there. Row 1, column 3 goes right there. Row 1, column 4 goes right there. And then I'm just going to fill in the rest. You can try it on your own, see if you get these values. I checked it on a calculator, so I'm pretty sure it's right. Alright, so that's matrix multiplication. It's really not that hard, but it's very, very strange. I mean, you haven't really encountered anything like it before. But I hope you found this helpful, and good luck.